Hi everyone, welcome to a new tutorial. Thanks for joining me today. Today I will be drawing a very cute little gerbil. Gerbil, do I say that right? Gerbil with color pencil on Pastelmat. So this was a tutorial for Patreon. It's on there for the $4 tier in real time. It took about 3 hours, so if you want to watch the real-time tutorial, you can have a look on there. And today I will just walk you through the process and show you what I've done. So I hope you'll enjoy. I am working with polychromos on light gray Pastelmat. The color of Pastelmat you work on doesn't really matter, but I wanted to choose a color that was close to the background in the reference photo that I got. I got the reference from Pixabay, so it's copyright free. You can use it too if you want to. It's super cute and a very interesting fur as well to draw. So I started out with the eyes, very dark and very small. It's a very small drawing because I didn't want the tutorial to be too long. So it's rather small. It's about 6 by 6 inches. So if you're having trouble with working so small, I would suggest to do it a bit larger. So you don't have to draw the eyes this small. But I really enjoy working small, I mean. So yeah, I really enjoy that. Making sure that those large highlights were in there and that they were really bright, very white. Because that way the eyes really pop out of the page. Also make sure when you work with color pencil on Pastelmat that your points are really sharp, especially when working small. So for sharpening I use the color grip from Faber-Castell, very good sharpener. And I just started out with building up the fur in many layers, especially on Pastelmat, which can take so many layers. You really have to push through an ugly stage. So the first 3 layers or so, they look so bad. But eventually it started coming together. For the base layer on the fur, I use warm gray because the fur has a warm undertone. But I didn't want to start with a super bright color because I didn't want the fur to be too bright in the end. So that's why I went with quite a neutral base tone of warm gray 2, if I'm right, and warm gray 3 as well. And then on top of that, I started glazing all the different colors. So I glazed pink on the fur, I glazed a little bit of ivory, I glazed nougat, and that way I start building up the depth of the fur. So the nose, as you can see, the bridge of the nose is quite dark. So there I used Van Dyke brown, walnut brown, also a little bit of light gray just to create those little highlights. And that's what I really like about Pastelmat, because when I work on my usual white Canson 1557 paper, I can't go with light on top of dark. And on Pastelmat I can do that, so that's really fun. It's a very fun difference. So that's why I like varying between working on the white Canson paper and the Pastelmat. It's a very different feeling. So if you're having trouble with working on white paper, with building up these colors from light to dark, I would definitely suggest to try working on Pastelmat. Okay, so first I wasn't sure how this drawing would turn out because I wasn't really sure if I liked it, but after a few layers, after I did most of the face, the drawing started to come together, especially after doing the little nose, which is very cute. The drawing started to become a bit more 3D. So then I just continued working on the fur in the same way on the body. So starting off with nougat and warm gray, and then glazing all the different colors on top. Then after that I started adding the darkest shadows in between the clumps of fur, and then finally I added the lightest hairs on top. And I would work the same way when I use pastels. So it's basically the same process, but it just feels very different. So when you work on fur like this, which is mostly beige, I would suggest to not only use yellow tinted colors. So I also use a lot of pinks in this type of fur, so it contrasts the yellows nicely, and then the fur becomes deeper without making it more yellow. So that's why I use quite a lot of medium flesh I used, and beige red, and also a bit of violet actually, and magenta. So I tried to put in as much color as possible. So for those hands, the hands were really small and very difficult actually, because it is a bit more difficult to get the very small details in when you work on Pastelmat because of the texture. So if you're having trouble with that, I would definitely do it larger than what I did. But I didn't completely copy the hands like they are on the reference. I just made sure that there was enough contrast in. But the hands definitely could have been more detailed than what they became on my drawing. But it was just a quick little study. It took 3 hours. I could have spent more on it, but I do think it's really fun to switch the longer project tutorials with smaller, quicker tutorials like this. They're still very fun to do, and actually this drawing turned out quite realistic, and the fur as well, though I didn't really spend that much time on drawing every individual hair. I don't really do that anymore. I just focus on the shadows in between the clumps of fur and then pulling out the highlights after. And then after 3 hours this drawing was finished. So I really hope that you like it. It was a bit of a quicker video than usual, but I hope you like it. And I will be back soon with another video. So I have quite a lot of drawings planned for this month as well. So very excited. There will be more videos because I have a new PC and I can go back to my usual uploading schedule now. So let me know what you think of it, what you think of this drawing. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And then I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!